I like multiplayer games. The chaos that they bring. So I built this deck to lean into that chaos, to basically annoy and change people's games plan. And I've recently cut some cards from here because I didn't like how they were playing, so I cut them. And I always inked them, or I just didn't like them, so I cut them. Fortunately, they were some of my low end cards, so I'm stuck with some. I increased the mana curve of this deck. Magic term, meaning I have more high end cards because I cut out some of the middle cards. Anyways, this is my red green ruby emerald question mark deck for Lorcana, which is about changing who wins. I have, if I can use this to get rid of two of your characters, and even if mine dies, it's good. So, two Sergeant Tibs and two Minis, which acts the playset because they're both lower 1, and that's basically what I use them for. And then I have Merfolk, which, if I get this out turn 1, I can start lowering for 2 on turn the next turn, and in multiplayer games, do you let me keep getting 2 a turn, or do you kill it? And if you kill it, do you kill it after you've made sure you have no cards to discard, or before? That's what I mean by I like to change people's game. This deck is about changing people's game plan. I have a full playset of Curse Merfolk. And then I have a full playset of this because, well, I usually ink this, but I have used it to help kill. This does exactly the same as Fan the Flame. So yeah. Each opponent loses 1 law. Would trade you out for another signed contract, because that's the one thing this deck lacks. It's card draw. And as I said earlier, this deck is made for multiplayer. So in a multiplayer game, it's gonna be people, at least one person sometimes is gonna play a spell. But there are some spells I don't want my opponent playing, especially if it's gonna win them the game. Like a Steel Amber's, like the Steel Jafar and Whole New World. So yeah, to stop people from winning, you have Ursula. I've used this to kill key characters that my opponents. Basically, what your job is to kill 3 of you. And another playset of this. I love playing this on turn 2 because people get upset and don't know what to discard, and it could disrupt the game plans. That's basically the point of this deck, is to disrupt people's game plan. That's why there's a playset of them. See, this is a one-off, but you can return the same cards that you play to your hand. Hell, you could use the card to sing for it. And because your hand is hidden knowledge, it's another character. Even if you have a hand of knowledge, you turn your hand, you can play it again because your hand is hidden knowledge. It's weird, but it's hidden knowledge. As I mentioned earlier, this deck is built around changing people's game plan, and if you return a card to the hand, if you do it at the right time, it can change the game plan. And, well, you don't have to win the challenge. He comes down. Suddenly people don't want to quest because that gives you a free opportunity to gain lore. This is also, I think, another 3 of. And do you get rid of this? Or do you let me gain 2 lore a turn? That's what it does. Gains 2 lore a turn. This is exactly like the song, except for I draw a card. And so, yeah, disrupts people. Makes each opponent lose a lore, disrupts people. Basically, the point of this deck isn't really to win, it's more to disrupt people. And unfortunately, one of the weaknesses of this deck is Daisy is my only 4-drop. If I can untap Maui and hit again, Maui is a one-off, but he's a good one-off because he has that rush. And 6/5. That's another playset. I think all the rest are playsets. So I have some 1-off, some 2-off, some 3-offs because it's not key. The key cards I have 4 of because I want to see them. The key cards that disrupt people's game plan, I have 4 of. Like this guy, he disrupts people's game plan. Like Mother Gothel, she disrupts people's game plan. This is really my win con, really. Him and Jafar and Shere Khan are my win con. Because if I have one Shere Khan out and one Aladdin, and I manage to banish one of your characters, I'll gain 3 lore, and each opponent loses 2. That is a swing of 5, which is good. So basically, Aladdin here is my win con. But another issue with this deck, as I mentioned earlier, is it doesn't really have draw. And yes, I filmed this video twice because, well, talking about my deck actually helped me figure out what cards I should cut to make it a 60-card deck. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. It should be going up right after I recorded, right after, but yeah, this is my multiplayer Lorcana deck, which changes how your opponents win the game more than wins itself. It can win, but it's more about changing how your opponents win rather than winning itself.